I'm Megan MacDonald, Corporate Vice President of Strategy and Communications at MEMA, and I'm joined today by Colin Shaw, President of MEMA Original Equipment Suppliers, and we're here to introduce you to Ahead of the Curve Q3. Hi, Colin.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
We've had a really busy quarter. I also think we start every session by saying that, but we've made a lot of impact on driving the industry forward over the last few months. So why don't we start with one of our value pillars of champion? You know, we've had this busy stretch on the advocacy front. USMCA is continuing negotiations after that July 1st trilateral review. What have we been doing on behalf of suppliers?
Yeah, we are doing an amazing amount on behalf of suppliers. We've organized fly-ins. We did a fly-in recently with about 21 suppliers. We've arranged meetings with USTR and Ambassador Getman with suppliers as well as ourselves. And we're trying to drive home the point of what a delay in making decisions on USMCA is doing. It's hampering the ability to invest. It's hampering the ability to make some strategic plans for long term. Suppliers are doing what they can, and I think there are pockets of uncertainty, but there are areas where to make some big strategic investments, we really do need the certainty of USMCA. And I'm grateful for the work that USTR and others are putting into it because they're listening, they're taking our feedback, but we continue to try and push how important this is to make some decisions.
Yeah, I think that fly-in especially was really impactful. We had nearly 24 meetings with both Democrats and Republicans on the Hill, and we can't thank our members enough for all of their engagement on that topic. Now, our second value pillar is community. So this continues to be the heart of what we do, right? We've had some recent changes in our leadership. So can you tell us a little bit about that and what it means for our members?
Yeah, I'm incredibly excited for two people who have taken on different roles in our organization. Kiana Mann, who for a long time has been our Director of Councils, put in a decade of work on councils. She's going to be leading our membership engagement process now. So all of the engaging new members going through onboarding, she's phenomenal at it. She's a delight to work with, a great personality, and has been around our association and knows what we do better than almost anybody. And then Allison Trumbull, she's taking over for councils. They're essentially switching positions. Allison has a great mind. She's thinking about, okay, where do we go in the future? How do we continue to engage members? And knowing what she's taking from her engagement role, understanding what members want going forward in the future with our council.
Well, speaking of engagement, I know that you were down in South Carolina a few weeks ago where we hosted our first Southern Supplier Summit. Can you tell me a little bit about that and how we continued to help engage and create community for members?
Yeah, first, thank you to our co-sponsors and those that we worked with, SCMC and Gamma from South Carolina and Georgia. They helped us bring together OEMs from Hyundai, Kia, Scout Motors. They helped us bring in suppliers. We had amazing panels talking about doing business in the South, as well as bringing our expertise of what we see at a federal level to our suppliers in those states that may not always have access to the things that we do here in Detroit. It was a phenomenal event. It had warm, but we had ice cream. It was delicious. And we had really good content from some amazing legal experts, OEMs, and suppliers.
That's absolutely wonderful to hear. And I want to go back, though, really quick when we move into our third pillar of research and insights to leadership changes. So you have some exciting news for us to share this week.
Yeah, we have a new Vice President of Market Intelligence joining us, Walter Wrench. Walter has been around the industry for a long time. He is an expert in commercial vehicles. He has a technical background in engineering and is going to lead that group and really do a couple of things. Help us be much more data-driven in some of the advocacy that we work on. He'll be based in Washington, D.C., but also look to the future of what our members need from market intelligence. How do we incorporate things like AI? How do we produce more and be more efficient using other tools? But also just bringing in a different perspective of how we drive member value through the content and the market intelligence and research that we perform.
Well, and one of those cornerstones of our research is the supplier barometer. Many of our members rely on that for information to help steer their business. We just got some results recently from the Q2 barometer. So what stood out to you? What are some of the highlights?
Yeah, so the Q2 barometer focused on finance and investment. And one thing that stood out that corroborates where we want to take some of the research we're doing this year is suppliers are very focused on automation. Many over the last decade or so, we've made a lot of investments in the product, whether it be ADAS, EVs, things like that. Now the focus is really shifting to automation and manufacturing operations. And as we look to the annual conference and some of the landmark studies we're doing, that is a big focus. So it was good to see that that is the top priority of investment for suppliers in the coming quarters.
Very interesting and very much so needed as we continue to try to build our industrial strength here in the US. Moving into our final pillar of access, we've had some record-breaking town halls in the last few weeks. So what are some of those that stood out to you most?
Yeah, we had our Toyota town hall, and Toyota is always a fantastic partner. They have a lot of respect from the supply base, and it was great to hear their perspective on where they're taking some of their technologies and investments moving forward. We also had our GM town hall, which is the biggest GM town hall we've ever done. It's the second year in a row we did it at the Huntington Place. But they, again, also talked about automation and supplier investments, and it continued to help corroborate what we're thinking around automation and how we're trying to bring more of this information to our supply base, especially the small and medium-sized suppliers who are thinking about, where do I invest? How do I invest? What's the right place to start?
Then let's look ahead of the curve.
Yep.
What can we expect this year with the annual conference and expo?
Yeah, the annual conference and expo is always my favorite way to end the year because it ends the year and then kicks off the next. But we're really focused again this year on bringing in those key OEM voices. So Christian Meunier from Nissan is going to be one of our keynote speakers. We have a landmark study around automation and how small and medium-sized suppliers can adopt and invest in automation. But then our expo is really taking another step. We continue to try and grow this every year with the goal of bringing in the OEM and the large tier one purchasing leaders, their teams, to meet with and build relationships with tier two, small and medium-sized businesses. And I think that is a pillar of something that's very much needed in our industry is bringing together those organizations in something like our expo that can be done here in Detroit without a lot of lift from them.
That's wonderful. And we definitely encourage all of you to attend our annual conference and expo. You can register by clicking the link in this month's Ahead of the Curve. So we thank you so much, Colin. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all of our supplier members for all of the support, especially as we champion the industry related to USMCA. And we'll see you next quarter.
Thank you.